Good morning, students. Welcome to this e-class of BA Part 3rd, Paper 1st of BND Government Arts College, Chimanpura. I am Dr. Ekta Goswami and we have been reading your second poem, My Last Duchess. It's written by Robert Browning. In the beginning, we have come to know that in form, this poem is a dramatic monologue. The character who is portrayed here, the Duke, is an Italian Duke of 16th century. Thus, the poem is a study of Italian Renaissance, a period of intrigue, diplomacy, planning, the unique morals, and yet of intellectual and artistic activity. The Duke, a widower, is represented as speaking aloud to the envoy or the messenger of a nobleman or a count whose daughter he intends to marry. It may be regarded as one of the best and most representative of the dramatic monologues of the author. And I've been telling again and again that this is much anthologized and much published of Robert Browning's poems. Browning's dramatic monologues are remarkable for their character studies, for their intellectual analysis, for their insight into human nature, and for their psychological penetration. In My Last Duchess, Browning's knowledge of the different aspects of human nature is reflected, and his analysis of various characters and their deep down thoughts is represented in this poem. So the poet makes the Duke talk about his last duchess, and in that process, he not only reveals the character of his last duchess, but to a greater extent, he reveals his own psychology, his own thoughts, his own mentality, and his own temperament to the envoy of the count whose daughter he wishes to marry. So, in this class, we would be studying, we would be continuing the poem and would be discussing line 25 to the end of the poem. In line 25 to 34, he says, "Sir, it was all one. My favor at her breast, the dropping of the daylight in the west, the bough of cherries some officious fool broke in the orchard for her, the white mule she rode with round the terrace, all and each would draw from her alike the approving speech, or blush at least. She thanked man, good, but thanked somehow, I know not how, as if she ranked my gift of a 900 years old name with anybody's gift." Now again he is describing the Duchess and he is saying that means for her it was all one. Means the Duke tells the envoy that the Duchess means in her importance, in her status, in her position, everything cannot be similar to her. She must have a taste because she belongs to the aristocracy. She belongs to this noble family. She is a duchess. But she was such a noble lady, she was such a humble lady, for her it was all one. She could not distinguish or discriminate between one thing and another. And she felt pleased, excited, thrilled by almost everything that came to her. So, in other words, if we can describe, or if we can come across, or if we want to know the character of the Duchess, we can conclude that she was a very simple lady and she had very humble interest. So, the Duke is saying that means what were all the things that were similar for her. My favor at her breast, the dropping of the daylight in the west. Now, she was appeased, or she could feel happy by even the simplest of the things. So it was all one for her. Now he is saying that the lady drew equal favor, equal happiness, equal pleasure, equal satisfaction for all the things, whether they were big in the sense of their value, in the sense of their cost. So it can be precious. The thing or the gift might be very precious, but to her, all the things, even if they are freely given to us by nature or God, it were all the same to her. So my favor at her breast means the pendant or the necklace that the Duke has presented to her, has given her as a gift, and which she was wearing round her neck. So that particular favor, and favor is for gift over here, and the dropping of the daylight in the west, or whether it was the sunset, the daylight in the west, the dropping of the daylight in the west, the sunset in the west, they were all the same to her. So she felt happy if her husband presented her with an ornament or with a precious jewel to be worn by her, and she was equally pleased to see the sunset. Again, the bow of cherries, some officious fool broke in the orchard for her. The white mule she rode with round the terrace. Now, what the Duke wants is that if she is the Duchess, she should know how to discriminate and how to distinguish between various things. She should not, in her status, in her station, feel happy at the smallest of the things. But to the Duchess, it was similar. All the happiness that she could derive from even the smallest of the things or even the precious of the things were quite similar to her. So whether it was the dropping of the daylight in the west, or means the bow of cherries that any worker in the garden brought for her from the orchard, from the garden, the white mule she rode with round the terrace, and means she was very happy while she was riding on the white mule round the terrace. Means I could not distinguish whether the valuable gift or whether the precious gift that was given to her by me means actually bore a special favor, or means it actually gave her a special happiness, because for her each and everything, even the simplest of the things, were similar to her. So in short, it would draw from her, all and each would draw from her alike the approving speech, or blush at least, because all her expressions and the word of thanks that she expressed for all these things, even for the simplest of the things, were quite similar to the gift, means to the thankfulness that she expressed while I gave her the precious gift, or means any ornament or any jewelry to her. So she felt delighted by everything, and she always responded joyfully to everything. And means the approving speech was similar, or even blush, it was also similar. Means I could not actually distinguish or discriminate whether the precious gift given by me to her bore a special significance to her, or it was like any other objects of nature, any of the simple things that were there. So even in cases which did not sufficiently please her, she was quite happy in showing her admiration or showing her satisfaction towards that thing. She thanked man good, but thanked somehow, I know not how, as if she ranked my gift of a 900 years old name with anybody's gift. Now, again, an insight into the character or into the mentality or into the thinking of the Duke. Now, the Duke expects a certain station, a certain sort of dignity, a certain sort of importance or pride in his Duchess. So he says that means she thanked man. For her, each and everything bore equal pleasure, and she thanked everyone, even the simple of the persons, good. Now, he's saying that being thankful to someone is good, but thanks somehow. Now, he is saying that means your way of expressing thankfulness must be different. So, to me, it should have been different. To the person of my stature, my station, it should have been different. And to the officious fool, to the workers, to the common man, the word of thanks that she was expressing should bear a different sort of a language and an attitude. So he is saying that I could not understand that. I know not how. As if she ranked, because for me, the similar sort of expression, the similar sort of gratitude, or the similar sort of blush that she used to express, it gave me a feeling as if she ranked my gift of a 900 years old name with anybody's gift. Now, Duke did not like her way of thanking people, because she thanked them in the way as if she could find no difference between the invaluable gift that the Duke was giving to her, means the Duke was presenting to her, and the small gifts, the ordinary gifts that the other persons, the simple persons, who were giving to her. So he is saying that my gift is different. And why my gift is different? Because I am a person, I am a name who bears 900 years old name. Means my family is such a reputable family. We have a sort of an hierarchy, and we bear this name as a family, as an old family whose history can be traced back 900 years old. So, by marrying her, he made her a part of that family, that reputable family which holds its name 900 years old, means which has a history of 900 years. And she should know how to prove her station, or how to prove her pride, or how to prove her importance into that family. And by bringing her to this family, he has conferred a great gift upon her. So, means any kind of present or any kind of gift from such a person like him, who belongs to such a reputable family, who belongs to such an aristocratic family, should not be counted with anybody's gift. Next he says, who would stoop to blame? This sort of trifling. Even had you skill in speech, which I have not, to make your will quite clear to such an one, and say, just this or that in you disgust me, here you miss or there exceed the mark, and if she let herself be lessoned so, nor plainly set her wits to yours, forsooth and made excuse, even then would be some stooping, and I chose never to stoop. Now, we've been told that the Duke is very proud of his family, which is 900 years old, and he expected his wife to feel that he had done her a great favor, means she should realize the importance of being the lady of this house, which bears its history of 900 years. So he's saying that means I never said it out to her or expressed my feelings, expressed my thought in words to her. Because he's saying that once you come into this family, once you belong to this family, you should know how to behave. So who would stoop to blame this sort of trifling? Now Duke says that it was beneath his dignity. Stoop is to come down. Stoop is to lower yourself. So he is saying that means I cannot lower my dignity to blame this sort of trifling. By blaming her or by abusing her or by saying that you are missing here or you are wrong here, means this sort of trifling I cannot do. So even had you skill in speech, which I have not. Now, and he is saying that means he could not lower himself by criticizing his wife, and he does not have that skill in speech. He is saying that means what I do not have that speech, that skill in speech where I can say the things in a roundabout way. Means guiding my wife that this is the manner in which you should behave. So he is saying that means my wife who belongs to this house must know what I really want in her. So this is something that is beyond my dignity to stoop myself and to blame or to criticize my wife and to tell her that this is trifling in her character. So he is saying that means another alternative which he could which he could have adopted was to make your will quite clear to such a one. Now he is saying that means this is a way that if you are not satisfied with something, if you dislike something in somebody, you can make your desire. Will is for desire. So whatever your desires are, whatever you want, you should make clear to such a one, to your wife, and say just this or that in you disgust me. This is a way of saying that means this is something that I do not like in your behavior, in your attitude, and this is something that is disgusting to me. Here you miss means here you have gone wrong, or there exceeded the mark, and there you have exceeded the mark means there you have overgrown. So means this is something that is basically expected from a husband, that if a wife is going wrong, if you expect something in his wife, he should tell her directly. So he is saying that means this is something that I do not have in my speech, and I consider it beyond my dignity to be in this sort of trifling or criticizing my wife. If she is my wife, she should understand everything what I expect in her behavior. So he is saying he could have tried to correct her at every step. He could have pointed out her faults, her errors, her omissions, or means where she was exceeding the mark, exceeding the limit, or means she was going beyond the limit. Now he is saying that if she let herself be listened so, and he is saying that suppose she had taken this constant criticism, means this lesson in a good spirit, so nor plainly set her wits to use, pursued and made excuse. And she could have realized that what I was expecting from her, she was not coming to that mark. So she might have made an excuse if I had told her directly. Even then would be some stooping. Now he is saying for my dignity, means as a person I am, the kind of family to which I belong, telling my wife or pointing out to her that this is a behavior that I expect in a duchess is something that is like lowering myself or coming down as far as my dignity and my station is concerned. And he is saying that means to my station I chose never to stoop. So he is saying that even this position of pointing out to your wife, and even if your wife feels sorry, means in my position, having constantly to correct her and pull her up and teach her and means tell her out that this is the way you should conduct yourself, would be lowering myself, would be beyond my dignity. And he is saying that it would have been uh, means beneath my dignity to do all this, and means coming down, means lowering my position is something that I can never do. So these lines emphasize the superiority or the complex from which the Duke suffered. He has a strange meaning of dignity, and he has a strange meaning of his own position. And means in a general sense, if we take up the character of Duchess, as the Duke has described the Duchess, she had been a very gentle lady. But the Duke, in his position, in his proud, in his haughty attitude, he considers it as a stupidity, and he considered as a lowering oneself of their position and dignity. So the arrogance and the snobbery in the Duke is visible in these lines. Oh, sir, she smiled, no doubt, whenever I passed her, but who passed without much the same smile? This grew, I gave commands, then all smiles stopped together. There she stands, as if alive. Will it please you rise? We'll meet the company below them. Oh, sir, she smiled, no doubt. Now, the Duke says that no doubt she has a pleasing face. She smiled whenever I passed her, whenever I crossed her, whenever I came to her. She gave me a smile. But who passed without much the same smile? But he says that there was no importance that I really felt. She had a same smile on her face whenever means there was anyone who was passing. So the Duke complains that everybody who met her received a similar smile from her. And where was then the difference between the way she treated him, means the Duke, who actually says that means I belong to such a royal family, I belong to a family which has 900 years old name. And she considered me, she gave me the same sort of response as she was giving to the common people. So nobody crossed from her without the same smile. She treated everyone in a similar way. He could not tolerate that his wife should smile upon others in the similar way as if she was smiling to him. This grew, I gave commands. Notice, then all smiles stopped together. And the Duke, he was a tyrant to his wife, finding that she did not come up to the standards of conduct. He became stiff and he gave commands by extinguishing her smile and her blushes. So he put an end to the Duchess' life by bringing all the smiles stopped together. Means the Duchess and her smiles, they were stopped together. And he says that now she's no longer there in life. There she stands as if alive. And you look at the picture, she's appearing as if she is a living object. Means the painting is so beautiful that the Duchess appears to be as if she is alive. Now, all smiles stop together, as if alive. Both of them indicate directly. The Duke does not say that he has killed his wife, or means his wife is no longer there. But these two sentences, all smiles stop together and as if alive, it indicates that she is no longer alive. Will it please you rise? And he says that means, will you please come with me? We'll meet the company below then. Means downstairs people are waiting for us and we would go and meet them. I repeat, the Count your master's is a known munificence, is ample warrant that no just pretence of mine for dowry will be disallowed, though his fair daughter's self, as I avowed at starting, is my object. So he's saying, I repeat, the Count means of whom you are the messenger. Your master, the Count, is of a known munificence. Of a known munificence means he has a name, he has a reputation, and that is an ample warrant, that is an ample guarantee that no just pretense of mine for dowry will be disallowed. So, because your master, the Count, he has his own reputation and he understands that means marrying his daughter to me requires a certain sort of a pretense. Pretense here means that it actually requires a certain sort of a standard. So means the gifts that I would be receiving as a part of marriage would not be disallowed. So he's saying that means the expectation of a dowry from the would-be father-in-law, the Count, uh, he has already talked to him, or means he must understand that marrying his daughter to my family means getting the marriage, or getting the marriage performed in certain way, and there's a certain expectations of dowry that would be fulfilled. It would not be disallowed. He says that means Envoy's master is well known for his liberality, for his generosity, for his name, for his reputation, and it is sufficient guarantee that the expectations of rich dowry would be fulfilled. Now, though his fair daughter's self, as I avowed at starting, is my object. Now, he is saying that means I would not actually tell it again, but my only object. Now, he is saying that means the expectations of dowry I know would be fulfilled, and your Count, he understands getting his daughter married to my family means certain rituals and certain gifts which are to be given. And he will not press this point, he is not going to repeat that, because right from the beginning he would again and again say that his beautiful daughter is something that is my object. And he calls her fair, he calls her beautiful, because he know that means the duchess, the next duchess that is now coming to him, to this duke, is a fair, is a beautiful girl, and apart from that, she is going to get married into this family, and that marriage should be ceremonized in a certain dignified and in a standard way. Nay, we'll go together down, sir. Notice Neptune, though taming a sea-horse, thought a rarity which claws of Innisberg cast in bronze for him. And the Duke and the envoy, they say that they prepare to descend the downstairs, where the other guests, they are waiting for them to meet. So they are actually coming down the downstairs, and he says, notice Neptune though taming a seahorse. The Duke takes him and he says, together we'll go down to meet the guest. And on the way, he says, his guest, when they are descending the downstairs, the Duke and the messenger of the envoy, when they are descending the downstairs, the Duke draws his guest attention to a bronze statue of Neptune. Neptune is the sea god, though taming a seahorse, and means how this statue is designed. The god of sea, Neptune, is taming the seahorse, controlling a seahorse, and he proudly says that this statue is something rare. It is thought as a rarity. This is a rare and a precious statue which Claus of Innisberg cast in bronze for me. And he is saying that this is something which is very precious. It was made for him by the well-known sculptor Claus of Innsbruck. So the statue of Neptune taming a seahorse is very significant here. It is symbolic of the Duke's own character. The Duke believes in taming wives, and therefore this statue has a special appeal for him. Taming is an art, and taming is something which he actually wants in each and every aspect of his life.